The anime starts by introducing Rein Shroud, a young man with exceptional skills in taming wild creatures in a dense forest. Beast tamers like Rein possess a special ability to control untamed animals and make agreements with them, allowing the animals to follow their orders. Rein collaborates with 4 heroes as part of a team, providing essential help and support during their adventures. Despite not being as skilled in combat as the heroes, Rein aims to contribute significantly to the group. He consistently goes the extra mile to ease their burdens and always puts forth his best effort, never wanting to let down the heroes who have placed their trust in him. Unfortunately, Rein's diligent efforts fail to impress the other heroes. They decide to exclude Rein from their group, considering him a burden rather than a valuable member. Rein, one of the heroes, even goes as far as stating that Rein has caused more harm than good to their team. Arios Rolando, another hero, agrees, stating that a beast tamer like Rein, who lacks fighting skills, only holds back their team and is only suitable for menial tasks like carrying supplies and weapons. Agath and Mina, 2 other heroes, also support Arios, leaving Rein with no option but to lead the party. The harsh words and actions of his former comrades leave Rein feeling let down and betrayed. Despite his considerable efforts to support the group, his contributions remain unnoticed and unappreciated. Rein leaves the party's base, returning all the equipment and weapons acquired during their adventures, and departs without receiving any compensation. After parting ways with the hero party, Rein takes some time to ponder his experiences and how he was treated by his former teammates. He realizes that the heroes never regarded him as anything more than a servant to fulfill their needs. While pondering his life under a tree, a group of young children approaches Rein and asks to witness his skills as a beast tamer. Rein accepts the challenge and showcases his ability to tame a majestic eagle, commanding it to interact with the children. The youngsters are amazed by Rein's talents and express their admiration, sharing their aspirations to become beast tamers like him. Rein is surprised by the children's remarks, as he had always assumed that children aimed to become heroes rather than beast tamers, who are often seen as the weakest on the battlefield. However, the children explain that modern heroes are often arrogant and unapproachable, prompting them to reconsider their admiration for them. Instead, they aspire to follow Rein's path and become esteemed beast tamers, exploring the world and accumulating wealth. Motivated by the children's words and newfound sense of purpose, Rein decides to embark on a new journey as an adventurer, utilizing his beast taming skills to undertake various missions and gain more experience. With no obligations to confront the demon lord anymore, Rein is free to pursue this new endeavor and carve out a reputation for himself in the world. He sets forth on his fresh path, eager to showcase his abilities and prove his worth. The following day, Rein headed to the Adventurers Union office, his heart racing with excitement and nervousness. He was resolved to establish himself as a fledgling adventurer and couldn't wait to commence his journey. Upon reaching the lobby desk, he was greeted by Natalie, a young woman who served as the receptionist. Her friendly smile instantly eased Rein's nerves. Natalie began to outline the roles and responsibilities of an adventurer. As a newcomer, Rein possessed limited knowledge about the intricacies of the profession. However, he proved to be a quick learner, attentively absorbing every word Natalie uttered. While most people, eager to embark on their adventures, might have bypassed the explanations and immediately registered, Rein was determined to grasp the full extent of his duties. Natalie proceeded to elucidate various aspects, including the ranking system, the diverse levels of mission complexity, and the associated rewards. Rein listened intently, absorbing every detail presented to him. As the briefing concluded, Natalie handed Rein his inaugural mission. It was a straightforward task, designed to serve as an initiation test for new adventurers. Rein's objective was to venture into the forest, vanquish 10 goblins, and procure a handful of rare herbs. Upon learning of Rein's previous occupation as a beast tamer, Natalie hesitated. Goblins were renowned for their formidable nature, and she feared that Rein might have taken on more than he could handle. However, Rein remained steadfast. He had faith in his abilities and believed he was better suited to tackle the mission alone, rather than burdening others. With the task at hand, Rein set out to confront 10 goblins and gather rare herbs from the forest. Little did he realize that this journey would lead him to an unexpected encounter with a powerful entity. After receiving intelligence about the goblins' whereabouts from a squirrel, Rein hurried to the location, armed only with his trusty knife. He stealthily dispatched each goblin, one by one, until he stood as the sole survivor. Suddenly, a cry for help pierced the air. A young girl was under attack by a massive black tiger, and Rein knew he had to intervene swiftly. He charged toward the tiger, using his knife to divert its attention and provide the girl an opportunity to flee. To Rein's surprise, the girl didn't attempt to escape like others he had encountered. Instead, she leaped into the air and effortlessly dispatched the tiger with a single strike. Watching in amazement, Rein realized that she belonged to the cat race, a species renowned as one of the strongest after dragons and fairies. After the tiger was vanquished, the cat girl named Kanade suddenly collapsed from exhaustion. Without hesitation, Rein offered her some snacks, observing as she gradually regained her strength. In that moment, Rein understood the significance of meeting Kanade. As a member of the nearly extinct and incredibly rare cat race, her presence was indeed remarkable. Kanade, weary of the mundane life in her mountain home, yearned for adventure, new experiences, and meeting new people. Her encounter with Rein was serendipitous. They quickly formed a bond, with Rein sharing stories of his travels and past companions. However, Rein also disclosed the challenges he faced, including the reasons behind his departure from his former party and his newfound quest for exploration. As Rein finished recounting his tale, Kanade brimmed with fury towards the heroes who had mistreated him. She spoke out, asserting that Rein was a kind and resilient individual who didn't deserve such treatment. Despite Rein's attempts to console her, gently petting her head and assuring her that the past was behind him, Kanade remained steadfast. She praised Rein's resolve and perseverance, highlighting how it could inspire others to stand up against their adversaries. With that, she proposed a contract between them, binding them together regardless of where their paths led. Although initially hesitant, Rein ultimately accepted Kanade's offer. He hoped that with her companionship, he could leave behind his past struggles and find happiness once more. With the signing of their contract, Kanade officially became Rein's adventure partner, accompanying him on his journey. Both of them radiated joy at the prospect of their new alliance, promising to watch out for each other and offer mutual support along the way. Excited by their newfound partnership, Rein suggested they venture up the hill to hunt for rabbits. To Kanade's surprise, Rein revealed his ability to form temporary contracts with multiple animals simultaneously, challenging her previous assumptions about beast tamers. After frolicking with the rabbits and gathering herbs, Rein and Kanade proceeded to the Adventurers Union building to claim their well-deserved payment. After successfully completing their initial mission, Rein proudly handed over the 10 goblin cores and 20 varieties of herbs to the Adventurers Union. This marked his formal entry into the Adventurers Circle, securing his very first Adventurer's license card. However, Rein was disappointed when the reward from their mission fell short of covering their expenses. Determined not to let this setback impede their journey, Rein resolved to undertake more missions to earn additional funds and continue their travels. Their triumph was short-lived though, as an adventurous man approached Kanade, attempting to charm her and persuade her to leave Rein's side. Kanade took offense at the man's disrespect, fiercely defending Rein and his skills as a beast tamer. However, the man simply laughed, ridiculing Rein as an inexperienced adventurer with little promise. Eager to prove himself, the man challenged Rein to an arm wrestling match, with the victor earning Kanade's companionship. Despite his doubts about his own strength, Rein felt compelled to accept the arm wrestling challenge to uphold Kanade's honor. To everyone's surprise, Rein emerged triumphant, easily overpowering the man and causing his hand to swell in the process. Kanade felt a surge of pride and joy at Rein's victory, while Rein himself was amazed by his unexpected strength. Suddenly, Natalie approached them and apologized for the adventurer's behavior, promptly ejecting the man from the Adventurers Union premises. Natalie knew well that the man was known for causing trouble for inexperienced adventurers, so she decided to temporarily suspend his license card as a form of punishment. Kanade explained to Rein that his newfound strength was likely a result of his contract with one of the world's strongest species. This meant that Rein's physical capabilities were now comparable to those of a cat's axe. Rein and Kanade felt a renewed sense of excitement and determination to tackle the various adventure missions that awaited them. However, Kanade's excitement was short-lived when she learned that their next mission was simply to gather more herbs. Kanade had envisioned grand adventures, such as seeking out the legendary sword or rescuing a princess captured by a dragon. In contrast, Rein approached each mission with a sense of joy and gratitude, understanding that as a novice adventurer, it was crucial to build up his strength and skills before tackling more challenging quests. Rein worked swiftly and effectively, utilizing his command over the rabbits. he had previously tamed to swiftly gather all the herbs required for their quest. However, Kanade couldn't shake off a hint of jealousy at the bond between Rein and the rabbits. Just as this feeling crossed her mind, a scream shattered the tranquility of the forest. Rein and Kanade immediately sprang into action, hastening toward the source of the distress. As they navigated through the dense foliage, they stumbled upon a distressing sight. An elderly man was surrounded by a gang of menacing bandits wielding sharp weapons. The elderly man's guards had deserted him at the first sign of danger, leaving him vulnerable to the threat. Kanade wisely suggested seeking reinforcements, but Rein was concerned about the potential loss of time if they were to return to the city. Without hesitation, Rein courageously stepped forward and requested Kanade to safeguard the old man while he confronted the bandits. With determination blazing in his eyes, Rein dashed towards the gang of thugs, facing them head-on. He tackled them one by one, while Kanade kept watch over the old man, completely engrossed in Rein's courageous act. The speed and fierceness of Rein's attacks left the bandits utterly stunned, and before long, he emerged victorious, having defeated them all. Kanade was so captivated by Rein's bravery that she scarcely noticed the outcome of the skirmish. The old man expressed his gratitude to Rein and Kanade for their help and urged them to depart before the bandits' allies arrived seeking vengeance. He revealed that the robbers were part of the notorious 100 Black Fangs gang and warned that they would undoubtedly seek reprisal upon learning of their defeat. Determined to prevent further harm by the Black Fangs, Rein resolved to track down the gang and bring them to justice. Filled with purpose, he embarked on a mission to put an end to the terror inflicted by the Black Fangs once and for all. Rein received intel about the Black Fangs' hideout from a friendly squirrel and wasted no time in heading there. However, Kanade, worried about Rein's safety, pleaded with him not to confront the dangerous gang alone. Despite her concerns, Rein assured her that he had a plan and believed in his ability to succeed. Approaching the Black Fangs' headquarters, Kanade suddenly burst into tears. She confessed to feeling envious of the squirrel, who always had Rein by its side, while she felt helpless and powerless. Rein swiftly dispelled Kanade's self-doubt, affirming that she was the source of his strength and courage. With a glint in his eye, Rein unveiled another of his talents. He had mastered an insect-taming technique from his hometown, allowing him to tame a poisonous bee. Kanade was further impressed by Rein's abilities, as it was uncommon for a beast tamer to possess two subjugation powers simultaneously. With their strategy in place, Rein instructed Kanade to seek reinforcements from the city's knights, while he used the bees to neutralize the bandits. Kanade hurried off to the city, leaving Rein to execute his plan. Utilizing his insect-taming abilities, Rein summoned swarms of bees and formed contracts with as many poison bees as possible, ready to incapacitate the thugs and capture them. Meanwhile, Lean and Mina found themselves breathless and worn out after fleeing from the bandits deep within the forest. In a desperate attempt to earn extra money, they sneaked into the Union building without Agath and Arios' knowledge and embarked on a covert mission. However, their plans were thwarted when they were ambushed by a large group of robbers, forcing them to flee and abandon their belongings. Lean scolded Maru, their hired beast, for fleeing during the attack. Maru explained that as a beast tamer, he lacked combat abilities, and it was natural for him to prioritize self-preservation. He also mentioned Rein, who had previously worked as an informant and had the extraordinary ability to tame numerous animals simultaneously. Maru was astonished by this revelation. It was widely believed that attempting to tame multiple beasts simultaneously would result in the tamer's body bursting into flames and exploding. Taming multiple beasts was an exceedingly rare skill, achievable only by the most skilled beast tamers. Rein must have been an extraordinary exception. However, Lean remained skeptical. She viewed Maru as a lazy and untalented beast tamer who fabricated stories to conceal her incompetence. To safeguard their reputation as heroes, she insisted that Maru admit to completing the mission alone. Lean and Mina couldn't bear the thought of their reputations being tarnished by a failed mission, especially one caused by a mere group of forest bandits. Feeling intimidated by their magical abilities, Maru reluctantly obeyed their commands and fled from the scene, tears streaming down her face. Rein successfully subdued the Black Fangs using his poisonous bees. However, as he was preparing to hand the criminals over to a group of adventurers led by Kanade, a pack of powerful C-class monsters, the king lizards, emerged and attacked. Rein leaped into action, battling the creatures one by one while urging the other adventurers to evacuate the immobilized thieves. Thanks to Rein's courage, the group managed to defeat the monsters and escape from the Black Fang's hideout without harm. The adventurers were all impressed by Rein's abilities and relieved that he emerged unharmed. This event marked a significant moment for Rein. He realized the joy of being valued and respected by others, a sensation he had not experienced while part of the hero's party. From that day forward, Rein was grateful for his decision to leave the party and the opportunities it brought him. Rein conveyed his gratitude to Kanade for positively impacting his life. Following their successful mission against the Black Fangs, Rein was promoted from Class F to Class E and received significant rewards. To celebrate his new rank, he treated himself to sumptuous meals and rented a room at an inn for the night. However, there was only one available room at the inn, prompting Rein and Kanade to share. While Rein felt a bit apprehensive about the close quarters, Kanade had no reservations, especially since the bed was exceptionally comfortable. Despite his initial hesitations, Rein eventually agreed to share the room with Kanade, appreciating the friendship and support she had offered since they first met. Encouraging Rein to rest, Kanade trusted him completely, knowing he would never harm her. As Rein drifted into slumber, Kanade couldn't help but smile at his genuine and compassionate nature. Before encountering Rein, Kanade had encountered numerous rogue adventurers who sought to exploit her strength as one of the strongest races. However, Rein was different. He never displayed any malicious intentions towards her and always treated her with kindness and respect, a notable contrast to her experiences with the hero's party. Determined to stand by Rein's side, Kanade vowed to be his faithful companion and friend, regardless of the challenges they might encounter in the future. Excited for a fresh challenge, Rein and Kanade accepted a mission from the Heroes Union to confront a guard dog on Stride Bridge. The dog's presence had instilled fear in many travelers, despite no reports of injuries. The reward for completing the task was a generous sum of gold. Without hesitation, the duo embarked on their journey to Stride Bridge, prepared to confront the formidable guard dog and bring peace to the area. Upon arriving at Stride Bridge, which linked the central and southern continents, Rein and Kanade were in awe of the breathtaking scenery. However, their awe quickly turned to astonishment when they encountered their designated target, a red dragon. Rein, familiar with the strength of the cat race, was surprised to find that the guard dog was actually a dragon, a species known for its formidable power. Approaching them, the red dragon transformed into a young woman named Tanya, a member of the dragon race. Tanya explained that she had been training on the bridge, seeking the strongest opponent to challenge. However, due to misunderstandings and the fear of travelers, she had been mistaken for a guard dog. Tanya's challenge spurred Rein and Kanade into action. They had to defeat the half-dragon individual in order to remove Tanya from the bridge. When Tanya initiated her attack with fiery punches, Rein skillfully dodged, while Kanade, in a state of panic, saw her tail catch fire. Witnessing her cherished tail reduced to ashes was unbearable for Kanade. Fueled by rage, she swiftly launched herself at Tanya, determined to teach her a memorable lesson. As Rein launched his attack, Tanya retaliated, sending both Rein and Kanade soaring into the sky. Tanya then unleashed a barrage of flames toward them, but the duo managed to withstand the intense heat. Despite Tanya's efforts to end the battle, Rein and Kanade proved to be resilient. Tanya was surprised by their strength, considering them to be formidable opponents despite being novice adventurers. Rein devised a strategy to defeat Tanya. He instructed Kanade to keep Tanya occupied for 3 minutes while he prepared himself. Rein summoned a bird and directed it to summon a flock of birds to aid in the battle. Although Tanya easily disposed of the incoming birds, she was unaware that they carried a potent poison. Moments after the birds departed, Tanya suddenly collapsed, paralyzed by the poison. Approaching Tanya, who lay defeated on the ground, Rein explained that the birds could inject a potent toxin capable of rendering a person unconscious within minutes. Realizing her defeat, Tanya conceded to Rein and Kanade. She anticipated Rein selling her to other adventurers for a hefty sum, but Rein had different intentions. He simply wanted Tanya to cease causing trouble on Stride Bridge. After successfully completing their mission, Rein and Kanade escorted Tanya to the Union office to inform Natalie of their success. Natalie was curious about Tanya's background and questioned Rein about her identity. To safeguard Tanya, who belonged to the hunted dragon race, Rein concocted a lie, stating that Tanya was an anime cosplay enthusiast. Sensing Tanya's imminent exposure, Rein and Kanade swiftly escorted her away from the Union office to a safer location. As they traversed the city, Tanya amused herself by teasing the rugged adventurers and proudly displaying her dragon tail to the children, much to Rein's dismay. Upon reaching a secluded spot, Rein cautioned Tanya to conceal her identity, emphasizing the danger she faced if discovered by adventurers or city knights. He suggested that Tanya train in a secure area away from the city, but Tanya adamantly refused to be separated from Rein. She implored Rein to allow her to join their team so she could continue her training while adventuring. After deliberation, Rein consented to Tanya joining their team, despite Kanade's displeasure. Despite feeling jealous of Tanya's flirtatious behavior towards Rein, Kanade reluctantly accepted her as a member of their group. With Tanya officially part of Rein's team, she formed a bond with him through their contract. Rein, in turn, appreciated having contracts with two of the strongest races. The addition of Tanya to their group promised to bring new challenges and adventures. As evening approached, Arios and the other heroes began to regret their decision to expel Rein from their group. With Rein absent, they now had to manage all the tasks he used to handle. Arios devised a plan to invite Rein back to join them on a mission in the heretical forest, intending to abandon him again after completing the mission so they could keep the rewards for themselves. Confident in Rein's gullibility, Arios believed Rein would readily accept the offer. That night at the inn, Rein found himself relegated to sleeping on the floor while Kanade and Tanya squabbled over the warm mattress beside him. The following day, Rein and his team set out on a mission to Elemi, nate the slime creatures causing trouble for the townspeople's fields and plantations. Successfully completing this straightforward task brought Rein a sense of relief and happiness, while also fostering closer bonds between Kanade and Tanya. Rein opted to utilize his ability to possess a bird to locate the gathering place of the slimes, while Tanya and Kanade stood guard over his sleeping body. Upon pinpointing the location of the slime herd, Rein and his team swiftly headed there, ready to launch their attack. Tanya, knowing of Rein's proficiency in fireball magic, approached him with a request. She asked him to utilize his skills to repel the approaching swarm of slimes. Initially hesitant, Rein hadn't used his firebolt in years and doubted its effectiveness. However, after focusing his energy, he unleashed a potent burst of fire, surprising himself with its strength. He marveled at how effortlessly the fire had come to him after such a long time. Tanya enlightened Rein about the benefits of their contract, explaining that through their agreement, his command over fire magic would continue to grow and strengthen. Encouraging Rein to persist in honing his skills and mastering various fire magic techniques, Tanya emphasized the importance of unlocking his full potential. Following a successful mission, Rein and his team proceeded to the Union office to claim their well-deserved rewards. With their earnings, they treated themselves to a delightful feast, enjoying the rewards of their hard work. After sharing several meals together at a restaurant, Kanade and Tanya became curious about Rein's abilities and asked him about his journey as a beast tamer. Rein began recounting his story, starting from his childhood. He grew up in a village where skilled beast tamers, including his parents, were abundant. From a young age, Rein dedicated himself to honing his abilities, spending countless hours training and taming small creatures in the nearby forests. When he found himself homeless, Rein took on a job as a cleaner in the house of one of the adventurers who had rescued him. Living in the attic, he faced numerous hardships but remained steadfast in his pursuit to become the strongest beast tamer. Throughout his teenage years, Rein continued to train diligently, perfecting his skills in the forest. One fortunate day, Rein's luck changed when he encountered 4 heroes who recognized his potential and invited him to join their team. Without hesitation, Rein embraced the opportunity, eager to use his abilities to protect others from the tragedies that had befallen his own village. With this newfound purpose, he was determined to make a positive difference in the world. Returning home after a rigorous day of training, Rein was devastated to find his village in ruins, destroyed by the demon lord's attack. As the sole survivor, he was rescued by a group of wandering adventurers. This tragic event marked a pivotal moment in Rein's life, motivating him to become the strongest beast tamer and prevent others from suffering the same fate as his village. However, the heroes delivered a shocking announcement to Rein after some time. He was being expelled from their party. They coldly revealed that they had only kept him around as a messenger. This revelation struck Rein deeply, but it also brought clarity to Kanade. She finally understood why Rein had always prioritized others' well-being over his own, despite the risks. His actions stemmed from a desire to spare others from the pain and suffering he had endured. Tanya and Kanade were outraged by the hero's heartless treatment of Rein, but they found solace in knowing that he could now live a life free from their exploitation. One day, while on a mission to confront a herd of orc races on a hill, Tanya underestimated the creature's abilities and impulsively attacked them alone, despite their classification as E-class monsters. Luckily, Rein intervened just in time to protect her from harm, though he ended up with a scratch on his arm. Despite feeling guilty, Tanya apologized to Rein, who reassured her by mentioning his ability to heal quickly. Later, under the afternoon sun, Rein and Kanade headed to the union office to claim their reward money. Meanwhile, Tanya chose to spend some time alone by a river, reflecting on her past mistakes. Rein noticed her from the bridge above, approached her and comforted her. Tanya once again apologized for her recklessness, but Rein encouraged her to learn from her errors rather than dwell on them. That evening at the inn, Rein tried to book an extra room but was informed that there were no vacancies. While the others slept, Tanya stayed awake, observing Rein and reflecting on his kind-hearted nature. The next day, as Rein and his team ventured into the forest for a mission, they unexpectedly encountered the four heroes who had previously rejected Rein. Despite his disappointment, Rein planned to ignore them, but Arios stopped him. Arios encouraged Rein to reconcile with the heroes, acknowledging that it was they who should regret their actions, not Rein, for accepting someone as valuable as him into their group. Tanya and Kanade were angered by Arios' disrespectful remarks towards Rein, and demanded that he show proper respect. The heroes were surprised, as they hadn't expected a seemingly weak person like Rein to earn the loyalty of two powerful creatures like a cat and a dragon. Rein, uninterested in their self-serving intentions, directly asked Arios what he wanted. Arios explained that their group needed Rein's assistance as a messenger for an expedition into the perilous Lost Forest. The Lost Forest was notorious for its ever-changing paths, making it extremely difficult for adventurers to navigate without the help of a skilled beast tamer like Rein. Rein arrogantly insisted that Rein should be thankful for the chance to rejoin their group. Rein, tired of the insults, firmly declined their offer and started to walk away. However, Mina intervened, reminding Rein about the true purpose of their mission: to find the holy relic, the Sahi shield, essential for defeating the Demon King. She emphasized that without the weapon, the city would remain vulnerable to the Demon Lord's attacks, risking another tragedy like the one that destroyed Rein's village. Faced with the memories of his village's destruction, Rein reluctantly agreed to join the heroes, determined to prevent further loss. Rather than appreciating Rein's decision to join them, the heroes scolded him for not accepting sooner. Tanya and Kanade, unwilling to tolerate such disrespect, demanded that Rein and the other heroes apologize and show respect to Rein. However, Arios, too proud to apologize, insulted Kanade and Tanya, calling them mere pets. Rein, outraged by the disrespect, punched Arios with great force, asserting that Kanade and Tanya were not just pets but valued friends deserving of respect. This confrontation led to a challenge between Rein, Kanade, and Tanya against Arios and the other heroes. Kanade faced off against Agath, Rein against Arios, and Tanya against Rein and Mina. Despite Agath wielding a formidable sword, Kanade easily deflected his attacks. Frustrated, Agath tried a fire sword technique, but Kanade effortlessly countered it. Realizing he had underestimated Kanade, Agath decided to use all his power to defeat her. However, upon learning that Kanade had not even used half her strength, Agath's confidence waned and Kanade emerged as the clear victor after a brief but intense battle. Meanwhile, Tanya confronted Rein and Mina in a magical duel, showcasing the strength of their respective abilities. Surprisingly, Tanya effortlessly countered all of the spells launched by Rein and Mina with a simple gesture. Her mastery of magic far surpassed theirs, enabling her to neutralize their attacks with ease. Fed up with their arrogance, Tanya warned them never to underestimate someone's power and always to show respect, regardless of strength. Faced with Tanya's overwhelming display of power, Rein and Mina apologized profusely and bowed before her, seeking forgiveness. Arios insulted Rein, dismissing him as a worthless beast tamer. However, Rein refused to tolerate the insult and delivered a powerful blow, silencing Arios' taunts. Despite Arios' quick retaliation, Rein remained composed and countered with a decisive punch to Arios' stomach, revealing Arios' vulnerability. As they clashed, Rein carefully observed Arios' attack patterns, using them to his advantage. He could anticipate Arios' moves and effectively countered his assaults. Rein pointed out to Arios that he had evolved significantly since their last encounter, thanks to his contracts with the cat and dragon races. However, Arios continued to underestimate Rein, believing he possessed only healing and fire magic abilities. Despite Arios' persistent attacks, Rein demonstrated that his skills extended far beyond what Arios had assumed. Confident of victory, Arios pressed on with his assault, only to be thwarted unexpectedly. At the crucial moment, Rein immobilized Arios with a venomous bee sting summoned by his powers. Despite Arios' pleas for forgiveness, Rein was not yet ready to absolve him for the disrespect he had shown his friends. In retaliation, Rein struck Arios with a decisive blow. Ultimately, Rein and his team emerged triumphant over the conceited heroes. The vanquished heroes were compelled to acknowledge their errors and apologize for their past misdeeds. Having defeated the arrogant heroes, Rein and his companions embarked on their mission to locate the Sahi shield in the perilous heretical forest. Guided by a map provided by Arios, they ventured forth, despite being unfamiliar with the forest's terrain. Navigating through the dense foliage and tangled undergrowth, Rein utilized his magic to inhabit the body of a bird, scouting from above to find the optimal path. Upon discovering a promising route, Rein resumed his own form and led the group along the newfound path. Their journey took a perplexing turn as they found themselves ensnared in a repeating cycle, trapped by an illusion spell. Tania discerned the enchantment at play and took action, dispelling the illusion with her light magic to guide them to its source. Continuing forward, they encountered a colossal tree harboring the origin of the illusion. Reluctant to harm the tree, yet pressed for time, they deliberated their options. Before Kanade could strike, a voice emanated from within the tree, revealing its inhabitants, which is several female elves. Rein was astonished to encounter a fairy, a mystical race long thought to have vanished 2 centuries prior. Fairies, reputed for their formidable magic, were rumored to have retreated to remote regions to evade humans, whom they regarded as enemies. As Rein approached the fairy girl, she frowned and prepared to unleash a magical attack, prompting Rein and his team to swiftly retreat, seeking safety while contemplating their next move. Kanade found the fairy's behavior perplexing. Normally, fairies were welcoming to outsiders, leading her to suspect that this particular fairy harbored unresolved feelings about Rein and his companion's presence. However, Rein held a different view. He speculated that the fairy might be concealing something and could be collaborating with the monsters to safeguard the Sahi shield. Tania suggested a plan involving her distracting the fairy while Kanade destroyed the illusion tree. However, Rein dismissed this idea, believing that resorting to violence would exacerbate the situation. Instead, he opted to attempt communication with the fairy, aiming to uncover the truth behind her sudden hostility. Rein emphasized that their objective in the forest was not to harm the fairies but to understand the situation. He remained confident that through dialogue, they could gain insight and find a peaceful resolution. As Rein approached the illusion tree, he attempted to engage in a conversation with the fairy girl named Sora. He was prepared to face her attacks as long as she refrained from harming his friends. To his surprise, Sora launched a magical arrow at him, but Rein chose not to dodge it, standing firm. However, when Kanade and Tania moved to protect him, Sora quickly dispelled the spell, showing no intention of causing harm. Using this moment, Tania and Kanade explained to Sora that Rein was a compassionate human who always assisted others without any hidden agenda. Their words seemed to resonate with Sora, who approached Rein and introduced herself. They began to converse, and Sora disclosed that the fairies had erected the barrier magic in the forest to safeguard their hidden village. Rein then informed Sora about their quest to locate the Sahi shield, which they needed to combat the demon lord. To Rein's surprise, Sora handed him the sacred weapon, revealing that arrangements had been made with the monsters for its delivery to the heroes. As they headed towards the city center, Rein sensed that something was troubling Sora and turned back to inquire about her well-being, expressing his concern and offering his assistance if needed. Grateful for his kindness, Sora thanked him, and they proceeded on their journey, carrying the Sahi shield and with a newfound understanding of the fairy race. Sora disclosed to Rein and his companions that she had a twin sister named Runa, and their duty was to protect the illusionary tree. However, a recent encounter with the Shadow Knights, a formidable army serving the demon kings, led to Runa being captured. Sora expressed her deep concern for her sister's safety, fearing the brutality of the Shadow Knights. Rein and his companions listened with compassion and offered to assist in rescuing Runa. Sora was immensely thankful, as she hadn't expected humans to be willing to aid a fairy in distress. United in their determination to reunite the sisters and defeat the Shadow Knights, the group devised a plan and embarked on their mission. They discovered that Sora and Runa had tried to defend themselves using magic against the Shadow Knights, but their powers were no match for them, resulting in Runa's capture. Rein informed the group that the Shadow Knights were formidable C-class monsters with strong magic abilities and resistance to magic attacks, making physical combat the only viable option against them. Sora explained that the Shadow Knights were holding Runa hostage to coerce her into dispelling the protective magic around the fairy village, enabling the Demon Lord's army to destroy one of the strongest races on the planet. However, Sora refused to endanger the safety of her people and fled to seek assistance from the village chief. Regrettably, the chief chose not to confront the Demon Lord's army, sacrificing Runa for the sake of the entire fairy nation's security. Sora still carried immense guilt for what happened to Runa. Upon hearing her tale, Rein pledged to help rescue Runa without jeopardizing the safety of the fairies. Rein and his team journeyed to the lair of the Shadow Knights, leaving Sora with the other fairies at the illusion tree. Upon arrival, they discovered Runa unconscious and bound to a tree, prompting Rein and his team to swiftly attack the Shadow Knight. Rein utilized a fiery blast to divert the enemy's attention, while Kanade unleashed a series of forceful kicks. Just as the Shadow Knight prepared to strike, Tanya swooped in to rescue Runa, intercepting the attack and freeing her. Rein directed Tanya to escort Runa to safety while he and Kanade confronted the Shadow Knight alone. Furious at the intervention, the Shadow Knight retaliated with lightning slashes and whirlwinds, posing a serious threat to Rein. Recognizing the danger, Rein formulated the strategy. He instructed Kanade to engage the Shadow Knight while he prepared his next move. Rein summoned a swarm of bees to disrupt the Shadow Knight's focus and dispel the vortex, creating an opening for Kanade to strike. Rein's plan succeeded, and he enhanced Kanade's strength and speed with his skill booster. Empowered by Rein's abilities, Kanade delivered a decisive blow, defeating the Shadow Knight with a single powerful strike. She beamed with pride at her accomplishment, while Rein explained that, as a beast tamer, he could enhance the capabilities of the creatures he controlled, enabling them to unleash their full potential. Following the battle, Tanya admired Rein's exceptional booster ability, recognizing its rarity and value. Kanade expressed her elation through joyful dancing, celebrating their hard-earned triumph. At that moment, Runa stirred awake, showing signs of confusion. She inquired about Rein's identity, prompting him to gently explain that he was a friend sent by Sora to rescue her, assuring her that her sister had never left her side. With Runa safely reunited, Sora embraced her with overwhelming emotions and gratitude. She expressed her thanks to Rein for aiding in her sister's rescue, filling him with happiness at the heartwarming reunion. Rein couldn't help but notice the distinct contrast between the sisters' personalities. While Sora was reserved and shy, Runa was more open and direct. Despite their differences, their bond remained strong, and Rein felt privileged to have helped bring them together. After the emotional reunion, Sora and Runa made the decision to join Rein's party and depart from the fairy village that had failed to protect them. Initially uncertain about forming contracts with the two fairies due to their unique magic structures, Rein hesitated. However, after Tanya convinced him of their compatibility, Rein embarked on the conquest ritual, determined to forge a bond with the sisters. Upon reaching the city center, Rein met with the heroes to present the Sahi shield, while the rest of his team observed from a distance, hidden from view. However, instead of receiving gratitude, Rein faced accusations that the shield he delivered was a counterfeit. The heroes doubted how Rein's team could accomplish the mission so swiftly, completing it in just 2 days. Arios expressed skepticism, mentioning that their group had been searching for the Sahi shield for a week without success, making it hard to believe Rein's efficiency. Nonetheless, Mina decided to use her light magic to verify the shield's authenticity. To everyone's surprise, Mina confirmed that the shield Rein carried was indeed genuine. Lee and Agath were astounded by this revelation and struggled to accept that Rein had succeeded. Arios then questioned Rein about the two new members of his team, but Rein opted not to disclose their true identities. Instead, he swiftly requested payment for the completed mission. Before departing, Agath approached Rein, urging him to reconsider rejoining their hero group, emphasizing their camaraderie and the importance of moving past grievances. However, Rein turned down the offer, emphasizing that he had found genuine friendship with his new companions, who stood by him through thick and thin. Agat's promise of fame and fortune didn't tempt Rein, as he valued companionship over material gain. Rein remained steadfast in his principles, even if it meant facing tougher challenges ahead. Rein showed frustration at Rein's decision, while Mina speculated that Rein was solely interested in wealth and success, without considering the responsibilities that came with being a hero's descendant. Arios, fueled by anger towards Rein, remembered the embarrassment Rein had caused him in front of others as a hero. Ironically, Arios had often instigated similar humiliations towards others. With clenched fists pounding against the table, Arios vowed not to rest until Rein and his companions were defeated. The next day, while chatting with Sora and Runa beneath a tree, Rein was asked why only heroes could defeat the Demon King. Rein explained that in a time when demon lords and their armies terrorized humanity, heroes forged a pact with the gods to gain powers needed to vanquish the Demon King and end his tyranny. It was believed that only the descendants of these heroes possessed the strength to defeat him, leading many to believe that only a hero could overthrow his rule. Rein expressed frustration at the current generation of heroes, describing them as arrogant and self-centered, compared to the past heroes who were driven by noble ambitions and a genuine desire to protect others. Sora then questioned whether someone like Rein, a skilled beast tamer, could be considered a hero. Rein admitted uncertainty but shared that Tanya and Kanade believed in his potential for greatness, like defeating the Demon King. While the idea intrigued Rein, he recognized the gravity of such a task. Defeating the Demon King was not something to be taken lightly. It required immense strength and carried the weight of many lives. Rein acknowledged that he still had much to learn and develop before shouldering such a monumental responsibility. The following day, Rein gathered the girls for breakfast and discussed his plan to use their earnings to buy new supplies, armor, and weapons. Later that afternoon, they went to the city center for some shopping. Their shopping trip took an unexpected turn when they encountered two men who recognized Tanya from a previous encounter on the Stride Bridge. The men greeted Tanya respectfully and expressed their desire to become stronger to challenge her again. While shopping, a group of children approached Rein and complimented him, mistaking Sora for his wife. This caused Sora to blush with embarrassment, but Runa quickly intervened, boasting about her strength as a member of the strongest race on Earth. Rein and Sora swiftly silenced Runa to prevent her true identity from being exposed to the public. Upon arriving at the weaponry store run by dwarves, Rein and his group began exploring the assortment of weapons and armor. Despite the store's renowned quality, the dwarf in charge had a grumpy attitude and wasn't welcoming to customers. While Rein was inspecting swords, Runa suggested that he consider using a whip as his primary weapon, noting its suitability for his beast taming skills. However, Rein opted for a sharp dagger, believing it would be more effective in close combat. As they prepared to leave, a young man entered the store with a bag of silver coins, demanding the best weapon available. Without hesitation, the dwarf handed him a sword, and the young man swiftly departed with it. Intrigued, Rein approached the dwarf, named Stroff, to inquire about the sword's quality, expressing surprise at its seemingly ordinary appearance despite being touted as the best in the store. Stroff chuckled at Rein's keen observation and commended him for being perceptive despite being a beginner adventurer. He admitted that the sword he had sold was indeed crafted hastily, but he always ensured a fair price that matched its quality. He then explained that the store's true treasure, the finest sword of exceptional quality, was kept out of sight and only offered to heroes or adventurers who truly deserved it. This decision stemmed from his frustration with novice adventurers, hastily choosing weapons without considering their worth. Stroff had seen many adventurers discard their swords once they acquired wealth to buy newer, more extravagant weapons. This bothered Stroff deeply as he put great care and skill into crafting each sword. He desired to gift his swords to those who cherished and respected their weapons. Rein and Tanya, being adventurers themselves, admired Stroff's steadfast principles. They shared his belief in valuing the significance of one's weapons and held great respect for his convictions. Intrigued by Rein's apparent knowledge of sword quality, Stroff approached the duo and inquired how Rein could assess the value of a sword with such ease. Rein explained that he developed his expertise by observing battles of skilled heroes, noting the advantages their weapons provided. Impressed by Rein's insight, Stroff promised to craft a weapon perfectly suited to Rein's strength and abilities. However, Stroff also mentioned that the process would take time as the required materials had become scarce and needed to be acquired before forging the weapon. As Rein and his team entered the Adventurers Union office, they were surprised by the unusual commotion and overcrowded atmosphere. Natalie informed them that a renowned hero party was recruiting new members, and many adventurers were eager to join, seeking fame and glory in the mission to defeat the Demon Lord. Natalie, curious about the two new members accompanying Rein, inquired about them. Runa, in her usual straightforward manner, revealed her closer relationship with Tanya and Kanade, leaving Natalie and Rein astonished. Sora quickly scolded Runa for almost causing trouble with her indiscreet words. Rein approached Stroff with a task to locate a magic stone called mithril, crucial for crafting weapons. Stroff mentioned that a significant amount of mithril had vanished from the town's mines, suggesting possible theft. Undaunted, Rein and his team volunteered to undertake the mission and investigate the situation at the mithril mine. To demonstrate their sincerity, Rein struck a deal with Stroff, offering to obtain his custom-made weapons for free in return for their assistance. With all the necessary supplies gathered, Rein and his team embarked on their journey to the mountaintop, where the mithril mine was situated. After a while of walking, Rein and his team decided to take a break and enjoy lunch by a lake to rejuvenate. While the girls refreshed themselves with a swim, Rein opted to relax under a tree and was approached by two squirrels. However, their tranquil moment was disrupted when Kanade suddenly yelped in pain. Reacting swiftly, Rein hurried to the lake, only to realize that Kanade's distress was caused by a fish nibbling her tail. In the process, Rein inadvertently caught sight of the girls in a state of undress. Flustered, Rein hastily retreated from the scene. Upon arriving at the mithril mine in the afternoon, Rein paused to assess the situation outside the mine's entrance. Suddenly, he was alerted by the call of a bird, and two adventurers emerged from the mine. Reacting swiftly, Kanade and Tanya subdued the two adventurers, rendering them unconscious. Meanwhile, Sora and Runa employed their magic to probe the memories of the unconscious adventurers. After investigating, Rein and his team learned that the two adventurers were part of a group of thieves who had stolen a significant amount of mithril. Armed with this knowledge, Rein cautioned the girls to stay alert, suspecting that one of the thieves might be a beast tamer who had dispatched the bird to surveil them. Upon receiving a warning from their beast tamer ally, the thieves prepared to confront Rein and his team. The beast tamer dispatched two female adventurers to intercept them. However, Sora and Runa easily defeated them with a well-executed counterattack using fire magic. When the two female adventurers attempted to cast fire magic once more, Sora and Runa swiftly employed barrier magic to restrain them, preventing further spellcasting. Suddenly, two other adventurers emerged and targeted Tanya with exploding arrows of fire. Despite the onslaught, Tanya retaliated with a flurry of potent kicks until the two young men surrendered. Maru, a proficient beast tamer, brimmed with fury upon learning that his comrades had been captured. With unwavering resolve, he drew his dagger and charged at Rein. Yet Rein skillfully defended himself and calmly urged Maru to surrender. Maru's anger only grew, and he adamantly refused to yield. Swearing vengeance, he summoned the formidable B-level monster, Behemoth. Maru had nurtured a strong bond with Behemoth since his youth, enabling him to control the creature effortlessly. Accompanied by Behemoth, Maru commanded the monster to assail Rein. The two engaged in a fierce duel, with Rein evading every blow from the Behemoth. Despite Rein's agility, the intensity of the confrontation risked causing the mine to collapse, threatening to bury them all. Amidst the chaos, Rein recognized the paramount importance of ensuring the safety of the adventurers and directed the girls to lead them out of the mine. Meanwhile, Kanade hurried to Rein's aid in combating Behemoth. Rein formulated a strategy, tasking Kanade with subduing Maru while he focused on restraining Behemoth and diverting its attention. The battle raged on, with Rein skillfully evading Behemoth's onslaughts and retaliating with minor magical assaults. Simultaneously, Kanade grappled with Maru, endeavoring to limit his movements. Despite Maru's unwavering control over Behemoth, the creature continued to assail Rein relentlessly. Realizing that severing Maru's contract with Behemoth was his sole chance of survival, Rein daringly assumed control of the contract himself. With the contract nullified, Behemoth ceased its attacks, granting Rein a moment of respite. Maru was astonished to learn of Rein's ability to commandeer a monster's contract, a skill mastered only by the most seasoned beast tamers. Despite his efforts, Maru's endeavors to dominate Behemoth proved futile, as the creature turned against him, nearly delivering a fatal blow. With no other recourse, Rein reluctantly employed a firebolt attack to destroy Behemoth. After ensuring the safety of all the adventurers, Rein and the girls questioned them about the theft of mithril materials from the mines. Maru explained their motive, feeling cheated by Stroff, who had supplied them with fake weapons and subpar equipment. They stole the mithril materials to teach him a lesson and prevent further deception. Rein relayed this to Stroff, who seemed to understand his mistake. Stroff pledged to rectify his actions and enhance his services to adventurers. Before leaving, Rein had a private conversation with Stroff, making a request for certain daggers and gloves. In the hero party's office, Arios was carefully reviewing applications for new members. Despite many candidates meeting the requirements, Arios dismissed them all. He constantly compared each applicant to Rein, who had become a legendary figure among adventurers. Rein's exceptional ability to tame multiple animals and conquer even the strongest foes in record time had set an incredibly high standard, making it challenging for others to meet. Mina grew increasingly frustrated with Arios' strict criteria and his continuous rejection of capable adventurers. She believed they needed all the support they could get for their upcoming battles, but Arios remained adamant about finding someone as skilled as Rein. Despite Mina's efforts to persuade him to be more flexible, Arios remained unwavering in his pursuit of another beast tamer like Rein. After Mina left, Arios retrieved a magic ring from his locker. He plotted to use the ring to harm Rein and prove that no one could match his skills. The following day, Rein went to the union office to discuss the recent events at the mine with Natalie. She informed him that the adventurers caught stealing mithril had their licenses revoked and were now serving as forced laborers in the city jail. This news surprised Rein, as he didn't expect the punishment to be so severe. He quickly relayed this information to Runa and Sora, explaining that contracting with monsters was considered a serious crime with significant consequences. Runa and Sora comforted Rein, advising him not to blame himself for the harsh punishment the adventurers faced. They emphasized the importance of accepting responsibility for one's actions, regardless of the severity of the consequences. Grateful for their support, Rein decided to lift his spirits by inviting the twin girls to accompany him to the city market. He wanted to buy fresh fruits to enjoy and offered to treat them to a snack. Since the other two girls were still asleep, recovering from the previous day's battle, Rein opted to spend time with just the twins. They eagerly explored the market, excited to taste the various fruit flavors. After wandering through the lively city streets, Rein treated the twin girls to delicious hot dogs, which they enjoyed immensely. Despite their enjoyment, the girls couldn't help but wonder about the strength Rein gained after contracting with them. However, Rein admitted that he hadn't noticed any change in his abilities. Runa and Sora felt disappointed, thinking they hadn't been of much help to Rein. Throughout their lives, they had been accustomed to being ignored and overlooked by the villagers. However, Rein reassured them, sharing his own experiences of feeling inadequate within the hero party. Despite others considering him useless, Rein remained determined and worked hard to aid the heroes in any way possible. Rein expressed confidence that Runa and Sora would eventually unlock their full potential and become valuable assets. This encouragement brought smiles back to the girls' faces, and they resumed their day, eager to find lunch and continue their journey. Their plans took a sudden turn when they encountered Edgar, a wealthy young man and the heir to Horizon City's throne. Edgar attempted to coerce the twin girls into joining him, but when they refused, he resorted to force. He ordered his men to capture Rein, Runa, and Sora. Refusing to allow this, Rein sprang into action, defeating Edgar's men on his own. The situation escalated when Edgar threatened to harm innocent city residents unless Rein surrendered the twin girls. With Edgar's men pointing weapons at the defenseless civilians, Rein found himself in a challenging situation. Fortunately, Rein possessed a special ability: the power to conjure fireballs from multiple directions simultaneously. Using this skill, he repelled Edgar's men and safeguarded himself, Runa, and Sora. The townsfolk hailed Rein as a hero for his courageous actions, while Edgar retreated in shame. Returning to the inn, a hooded elderly woman approached Rein and urged him to depart Horizon City promptly. She cautioned that the city's rulers would not take kindly to their child's humiliation and their army's defeat by Rein. Back at the inn, Rein and the twin girls recounted the market incident to the old woman. She disclosed Edgar's notorious reputation for forcibly abducting and enslaving young girls, subjecting them to servitude or exploitation. Suspecting that Edgar's father might have bribed the city's knights to overlook his son's reprehensible conduct, Rein contemplated investigating the matter further to gather evidence. Tanya and Kanade encouraged Rein to pursue this course of action, promising their support alongside Runa and Sor in freeing the townsfolk from their oppressive rulers. Initially hesitant due to his lack of authority and hero status, Rein was persuaded by Tanya's reassurance that they would tackle the issue together. That night, Edgar convened with his father, Arzak, at the city government office. Arzak, who had always pampered and yielded to Edgar's desires, assigned a knight commander named Strigar to investigate Rein. He also rewarded Strigar with a bag of gold coins. Fuming over the humiliation he suffered, Edgar's anger boiled over, and he vented his frustration on an innocent young girl. The following day, Rein and the twin girls visited the town's knight headquarters to report Edgar's alleged violent behavior and mistreatment. However, the knights accused Rein of treason, suspecting him of spreading false accusations about Edgar to tarnish the ruler's reputation. Rein realized then that the city's ruling family and the knights were in cahoots to conceal their wrongdoings. As Rein exited the knight headquarters, he unexpectedly encountered a young woman named Stella. She wasn't just an ordinary woman, but the deputy commander of the city's knights. Stella wanted to express her gratitude to Rein for his role in apprehending members of the notorious Black Fangs gang. However, she had a deeper motive for seeking out Rein. Stella had first-hand knowledge of the corruption and abuse of authority within the town's ruling elite and its knights. Despite her position as deputy commander, she had been silenced, unable to speak up against the injustices she witnessed. She saw in Rein an opportunity to expose these injustices and break the Lord's grip on the knights. As long as the city lords maintained control over the knights, Stella and her colleagues would struggle to fulfill their duties with honesty and dignity. They would continue to be manipulated to serve the lords' selfish agendas. Stella outlined her strategy to Rein, focusing on investigating Strigar, Edgar's family's personal bodyguard. She believed that by uncovering Strigar's secrets, they could gain insight into the corrupt system's inner workings. Impressed by Stella's resolve, Rein agreed to collaborate on the case after a thorough discussion. The following day, Rein, Stella, and the other girls convened at a warehouse to plan how to liberate the city's knights from the ruler's influence. They hashed out their strategy and finalized preparations for their mission. Rein departed to collect his newly commissioned weapons and armor from Strauss' shop, while Stella and the girls proceeded to a clandestine spot at the rear of the warehouse. There, they set a trap for the treacherous knights. Rumors had circulated about evidence of a conspiracy between the knights and the rulers hidden in the warehouse, enticing the corrupt knights. They eagerly gathered there to dispose of the incriminating proof. To their dismay, Rein and Stella launched a surprise attack. Armed and determined, they swiftly subdued the treacherous knights one by one, putting an end to the corruption that plagued the city's defenders. Caught in the trap, Strigar resorted to desperate measures. He threatened Stella, demanding Rein's surrender to him and the rulers. Unfazed by his intimidation, Stella had a contingency plan. Fellow knights had infiltrated Strigar's office to uncover evidence of collusion between the knights and the city lords. Despite Strigar's confidence in Arzak's power, Stella remained resolute. She confronted Strigar, ready to face him in combat. The two engaged in a fierce battle, each refusing to yield. Despite being cornered, Stella achieved an unexpected victory, defeating Strigar. That evening, word of Strigar's defeat spread swiftly, eventually reaching Edgar's ears. Enraged, he vented his anger on the young girl he had been holding captive. In that moment, Arios appeared before Edgar, presenting himself as someone who shared Edgar's animosity towards Rein. Arios cautioned Edgar that Rein had formed alliances with powerful races like the cat and dragon races, rendering Edgar incapable of defeating him, regardless of his army's size. Arios further provoked Edgar, painting Rein as a covetous individual who would eventually usurp all of Edgar's riches, authority, and fame. He enticed Edgar with a magic weapon, a ring, promising increased strength to its wearer fueled by negative emotions. The scene then shifted to the past, recalling a time before Nina, the fox demon girl, endured torment under Edgar's hands. In those days, she lived happily among caring individuals. However, her life took a tragic turn when Edgar kidnapped her years earlier, subjecting her to a life of slavery and suffering. Back in the present, Stella and her team arrived at Mayor Arzak's mansion to make an arrest, but they faced resistance from the knights guarding the premises. Unable to penetrate the defense, Stella enlisted Tanya and Kanade's assistance to confront the knight army. While the knights were preoccupied with battling Tanya and candidate Edgar, emboldened by the power of Ario's magic ring, awaited the opportunity to break Rein's alliances with the strongest races, aiming to dominate them and overcome Rein effortlessly with his forces. Meanwhile, Rein and the twin girls covertly infiltrated the dungeon to rescue the captive girls. While Tanya and Kanade kept the guards distracted, Rein instructed the twin girls to continue liberating the prisoners while he investigated a powerful magical presence detected by Sora among them. Stealthily advancing through the dimly lit corridor of the prison, Rein sensed a palpable tension in the air. Drawing closer to one of the cells, he discerned faint movements from within. Gently opening the door, he discovered a fox girl lying in a feeble state on the floor. Her once radiant fur had lost its luster, and she appeared weak and in pain. Without hesitation, Rein focused his energy and employed his healing magic to replenish the fox girl's strength. As he worked, he recognized that she was not an ordinary fox, but a three-tailed fox demon, renowned as one of the most formidable breeds alongside the cat race. Determined to aid the fox girl, Rein devoted himself tirelessly to comforting her and earning her trust. Gradually, she began to confide in him, recounting her past and the circumstances that led to her imprisonment. Nina had resided in a secluded village, enjoying a life of peace and prosperity. However, several years ago, Edgar and his soldiers had descended upon the village with the intent of seizing her. In a valiant effort, Nina had fiercely resisted Edgar and his forces, resolved to safeguard herself and the innocent children of the village. Yet Edgar resorted to a deceitful and ruthless strategy, threatening harm to the children unless Nina surrendered. With a heavy heart and no other recourse, Nina succumbed to Edgar's demands, allowing him to capture her. He then ensnared her with a magical collar, stripping away her powers and rendering her defenseless. For years thereafter, Nina endured torment and maltreatment at the hands of Edgar and his minions. Rein listened in horror as Nina recounted her tale, feeling a strong resolve to liberate her from the confines of the magic boundary necklace. He exerted all his magical prowess in an attempt to dismantle the necklace, but it resisted his efforts, causing Rein immense agony and injury due to its formidable magic energy. Despite facing overwhelming odds, Rein's perseverance and unyielding determination eventually triumphed. He successfully shattered the magic binding the necklace and obliterated it, setting Nina free from its oppressive grip. Meanwhile, Sora and Runa swiftly joined their comrades Kanade and Tanya on the battlefield, offering their assistance after safely evacuating all the captives. Amidst the escalating chaos, Arzak implored Edgar to depart with him. But Edgar adamantly refused. Instead, he urged his father to depart first, vowing to catch up after vanquishing Rein with a powerful magic ring. Meanwhile, Rein entrusted Nina's safety to Sora, Runa, Kanade, and Tanya, urging them to take her to a secure location. He then sought out Stella's assistance in apprehending the corrupt mayor. As the official attempted to flee through the back exit, Rein and Stella swiftly subdued him using a magical rope. Their triumph was short-lived, however, as Edgar emerged, summoning the Angel of Death from his ring to strike down Rein. Arios, observing Rein's apparent demise from a nearby rooftop, felt a sense of vindication as he believed his revenge had been realized. Chuckling smugly at Rein's downfall, he departed the scene to avoid detection. Unbeknownst to Arios, Rein had survived the assault by the Grim Reaper. It turned out that Rein possessed immunity to death and poison magic, much to Arios' astonishment. Rein's unexpected survival dealt a severe blow to Edgar's pride, fueling his anger and resentment. However, his fury triggered a dark consequence as the demon spirit within his magic ring consumed his soul, using him as a vessel for its resurrection. As the demon emerged from the ring, Rein recognized it as the same entity that had previously attacked his village. Sensing the presence of humans, the demon set its sights on the city center, hungry to consume the souls of its inhabitants. Initially uncertain about his ability to defeat the demon, Rein found confidence and resolve through the unwavering support of his friends. With his friends standing by his side, Rein felt emboldened and determined to confront the demon. Believing in their collective strength, he knew they could thwart the demon's rampage and safeguard the city's residents. Rein organized his team and devised a plan to confront the menacing demon, assigning Nina and Stella to remain at Edgar's house while he and the other girls ventured downtown to confront the threat directly. As they neared the city center, they witnessed the devastation caused by the demon. Buildings reduced to ruins and frightened citizens seeking shelter. The demon wasted no time in summoning its minions, but Tanya and her companions were prepared. Utilizing their combined abilities, they swiftly dispatched the enemy forces and advanced. However, the battle took its toll. Kanade sustained injuries from a demon's assault, prompting Tanya to spring into action. Driven by determination and the need to safeguard her comrade, Tanya unleashed a formidable blaze towards the demon. Meanwhile, Sora and Runa attended to Kanade, employing their healing magic to ensure her well-being. Despite Tanya being pushed back by the demon's onslaught, Rein and the twins reacted promptly, employing their binding magic to withstand the fiery assault. Empowered by Rein's booster magic, Tanya and Kanade launched a fierce counterattack. Feeling cornered, the demons summoned an even larger army of troops. Horizon City teetered on the edge of ruin, yet Sora and Runa refused to yield. Employing their teleportation magic, they endeavored to evacuate the entire populace to safety. Meanwhile, Rein prepared to unleash a formidable attack technique he had never before employed. On the contrary, Arios and his fellow heroes remained holed up in their headquarters while the city faced a dire crisis. Despite the imminent danger and turmoil, Arios adamantly refused to join the fray. He deemed the demons assaulting the city as insignificant underlings, unworthy of his attention, as he solely desired to confront the demon lord. Agath and Mina made fervent attempts to persuade Arios to intervene and aid the imperial townsfolk, stressing the value of every life and their duty to safeguard the innocent. Yet, Arios remained resolute in his stance, obstinately asserting his sole interest in battling the demon lord. As the city's plight worsened, Sora and Runa sought assistance from Stella and the knightly forces. They proposed gathering all the townspeople in one location to facilitate their evacuation using teleportation magic. Once the populace assembled, Sora and Runa urged them to step into the teleportation magic circle. However, the townsfolk hesitated due to their distrust of the fairy race, who were reputed to harbor animosity towards humans. Despite the initial hesitance of the townsfolk, a hot dog vendor and a young girl familiar with Sora and Runa bravely stepped forward to assist. Through their persuasion, they managed to convince the citizens to enter the teleportation magic circle. Just as Sora and Runa were preparing to teleport the townspeople to safety, a horde of demons approached, causing panic among the townsfolk. Meanwhile, Rein, Kanade, and Tanya persisted in battling the demons that had infiltrated the city. Fortunately, they found support from nearby adventurers, who joined forces with them. Together they vanquished the remaining demons, causing chaos in the city. Upon learning of the hero party's decision not to intervene, Natalie rallied all available adventurers to aid in combating the demon army. Determined to defend the city, she spared no effort. Contributing to the cause, Stroth the blacksmith supplied the adventurers with a mithril sword, boosting their resolve to protect the city even further. Meanwhile, Sora worked diligently at the evacuation site, single-handedly transporting numerous townspeople to safety. In a defense effort, Runa and Stella remained behind, prepared to confront the approaching demon forces. As Rein, Kanade, and Tanya pondered how to combat the airborne demon army, they faced a dilemma. Tanya, capable of joining the battle in her dragon form, refrained due to the risk of becoming an easy target for the demons. However, hope arose when Nina, the fox demon, offered her assistance. Recalling Nina's teleportation ability, Kanade and Tanya saw it as a solution. They proposed that Rein utilize Nina's power to approach the giant demon while they held off the ground forces. Following their advice, Rein dashed toward the giant demon with remarkable speed. Approaching the demon cautiously, Rein activated the skill booster to enhance his abilities and deployed binding magic to ensnare the demon. Despite the demon's furious resistance, Rein remained resolute, bombarding it with magic attacks until it was vanquished. As the sun rose in the east after a grueling night of battle, Rein and his team emerged triumphant. 3 days after the turmoil, the city came together to rebuild and recover. Stella was appointed as the city's knight commander, charged with restoring order and ensuring citizens' safety. Meanwhile, Arcas and his associates, who had betrayed their knightly duties, faced imprisonment for their crimes. Nina, now without a home, stayed with Rein while Stella searched for her family. Kanade and Tanya eagerly helped repair damaged homes, while the twin sisters assisted merchants in exchange for tasty hot dogs. The next day, Nina chose to join Rein's team, eager to become one of Rein's familiars and join him in battles. Later, when Rein and his team visited the Adventurers Union office, they received exciting news. Rein had been promoted to a C-class adventurer. This was a remarkable achievement, as typically only E-class adventurers could advance to B-class. Natalie explained that Stella and other adventurers recommended Rein for promotion due to his heroic actions in saving Horizon City. Rein felt deeply grateful for the recognition of his efforts. Upon learning about Rein's forthcoming substantial reward, the girls were thrilled and requested Rein to treat them to a delightful dinner. Rein gladly accepted and proposed renting a larger den to accommodate their expanding team. After introducing Nina to Natalie, Rein sought her advice on suitable accommodations. To his surprise, Natalie suggested considering buying a new house in the suburbs. The girls enthusiastically agreed, and Rein embarked on a quest to find the perfect home for their growing group. After inspecting several houses and considering various factors, Rein and his team finally settled on a luxurious house with a spacious yard. Rein wondered why Natalie hadn't mentioned this particular house earlier, and she bashfully revealed that it was haunted by a playful ghost. This ghost had a habit of adjusting the water temperature, causing clothes to get dirty, and moving objects around in the bedrooms. As Rein and his team explored their new residence, strange events unfolded. The sofa in the living room moved by itself, the central light flickered, and a sudden gust of wind blew in through the open window. Ghostly moans echoed, believed to be from a servant girl haunting the house. Despite these eerie occurrences, Rein and his team remained determined to make the house their own and sought a way to peacefully coexist with its spectral inhabitant. With the girls' persistence and Kanade's unique abilities, they managed to capture the ghost of the servant named Tina Holy. Tina revealed that she had died 30 years earlier while serving in another city, where she suffered at the hands of a cruel mistress who took pleasure in mistreating young girls. Moved by Tina's story, Rein and his team decided to let her stay in the house as its guardian. They felt appreciative of Tina's presence, especially since she helped them acquire the mansion at a reasonable price. After officially becoming the mansion's owner, Rein received praise from Natalie for his skill in calming the ghostly resident. Tina, together with the twin girls, started preparing a celebratory dinner as they settled into their new residence. Meanwhile, Tanya and Kanade were busy organizing a big welcome event for their arrival. The next day, Arios and the three heroes approached the merchants seeking supplies for their journey, but they faced insults and refusal. The merchants considered them useless, reminding them of their failure to protect the city from the demons. These insults fueled Arios' anger, causing him to leave the market with a determination to seek revenge and defeat Rein once more. Later that evening, Rein and the girls gathered around the table for a feast prepared by Tina and the twin girls. Nima expressed her gratitude to Rein for freeing her from loneliness. This conversation led Rein to reflect on the past, recalling the pain of losing his family and being exiled by the heroes. However, in the company of the girls, Rein felt his wounds slowly heal and his sorrow dissipate. Their unwavering loyalty and companionship provided him solace and comfort, filling his heart with warmth and happiness. So the moral of the story is when life gives you a haunted mansion, make sure the ghost is on your side, because you never know when you might need a spectral roommate to liven up your house parties.